So yeah, this is season 9, episode 12, Black Queen. Now, Black Queen, I think, is really fun, and that's because it deals with two characters who I would say, because a lot of them have strong connections between the two characters, but the two characters that have a really tight relationship is Derek Morgan, and I need to check the name. Penelope Garcia, who have this sort of like jokey banter with each other, which is meant to be essentially both people just joking with each other. And it's the idea of looking into Penelope's past, which was a sort of like hacker who hack under programs, and someone who's doing it for somewhat moral reasons. Also interesting is I like earlier uh, she talked about another character, uh, uh, Emily Prentice, about her having a goth look, which is really interesting because it's very much that like teenager time period, that joke of like, oh, why was that? But when you look into her past, she didn't have the exact same, but she had the long hair, black, a lot of darkness, hence why it's really interesting of that in retrospect. But I'm not going to comment on that. I don't think there's much to it. Because the first time was a joke, and this is sort of like more of a character thing. Um, I do like it how, one, they connect it to hackers, how hackers think, and two, a relationship that deals with a new connection for Penelope with Derek Morgan and her old sort of like partner, which is very good, very fun, very like interesting. He's very much this interesting thing. And at the end, he almost does die and does at a certain point get saved by them, which I think is really interesting. I also like the idea that this is a person being like, oh no, there's an actual killer out there, etc., etc., etc. And then it's a thing of like, no, there isn't. There wasn't any. It's fun on that regard of putting that twist in of like, it's like, was he innocent? Because that would be like an interesting idea. He wasn't. uh, but I like the idea of like this group being like, oh no, this person's innocent. Here's the proof, and it's very much this sort of like game, and it's really fun. Not game as in chess, but like very much these two people trying to get information, and it's so amazing. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope you like this video, and good night.